Local karate dojos are asking for a fighting chance and some help, worried that without it, they may have to bow out. With more festivals canceled or moved online, a renewed interest in apple picking. Orchards in Windsor, Essex expect at least a 25% increase in customers. Taking a look outside here, Wyandotte and Olette earlier today, a high of 21 degrees outside. The last full day of summer, not a cloud in the sky. Colette Kennedy with the full forecast tonight. I'm Chris Hensing. Thanks for joining us. Big changes to public gatherings in this province announced Saturday morning, but that night, dozens upon dozens of people met up at a local plaza in Windsor for what looks to be a car meet. The CBC's Katerina Georgieva has been on this. She joins me now live from Tecumseh and McDougall. Katerina, you're where this meet took place. What exactly happened that night?
Yeah, Chris, it happened Saturday night, and it was a really large gathering. I can't tell you exactly how many people were here, but from some of the videos I've seen, it was definitely well over the 25 maximum cap on outdoor gatherings as per the newest rule from the province, and it's a maximum of 10 for indoor gatherings. Now, as I mentioned, some of this was captured on videos on Facebook, and I want to show you some of that so that everybody can see it for themselves. So you saw some of the action there, cars showing off, and I actually want to show you some of the aftermath. If you look over my shoulders, you can actually see some of the tire marks that remain from that event, from the ways that they were spinning their tires. Now, in addition to that, in that video, you also saw the crowds, and for the most part, people were not physical distancing. They were not wearing masks, and all of this in a moment when the province is really trying to crack down on gatherings just like that one. Now, we know that police did respond. They responded to a noise complaint around 11:30 that night. They said that everything was dispersed peacefully, but no charges were laid, Chris.
Now, Katerina, that same night, police in Ancaster broke up what looks to be a similar event, big enough for the Premier to weigh in on that today.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are some similarities in that in both cases, no charges were laid, no fines were issued. In terms of the sizes of the events, the one in Ancaster was definitely large in the hundreds, and we don't know if the one here in Windsor reached that level. We do know that officials in Ancaster Police there are looking to find the organizers in order to charge them. But yes, as you mentioned, Premier Ford commented on this earlier today, and he had some strong words. Have a listen.
As for the organizers, you know something, guys, I don't get it. I just don't get it. If we weren't so backlogged on MRIs, I'd send you to the MRI to get your brain scanned, because I don't think there's anything in there. We get the protocols out there, and they just blatantly ignore the people. You've got to really wonder.
And again, all of this is happening as cases across Ontario are on the upswing. 425 new cases today. That's the largest number that we've seen in 3 months. Now, with these new rules on gatherings, there's also hefty fines. It's $10,000 for any organizer of this kind of event, $750 for anybody who attends. Now, this does not apply to businesses, but it will be in effect for the next month or so. Now, I did also reach out to the health unit to find out if fines were issued, to find out if they received complaints, if anything was issued. They said that they are looking into it for me, but I have not yet heard back, Chris.
Thanks, Ms. Katerina. The CBC's Katerina Georgieva live tonight. 7 new COVID-19 cases announced in Windsor, Essex today, with the Public Board announcing another school in the area with a confirmed case. A new case confirmed at Mason Centre in Windsor today, but the person hasn't attended the school, according to a board's spokesperson. Kingsville District High School, they confirmed a case on Sunday, posting it to the board's website, not known if the person is a student or a staff member. And there's 2 other schools that have had a case in Windsor, Essex at least. Lesueur with the French Catholic School Board in Tecumseh, and Stella Maris Elementary in Amherstburg. Now, the local health unit again reporting 7 new cases of COVID-19 in Windsor, Essex today, and across Ontario, 425 new cases in the province. Now, despite the high number of infections, people in hospital with the virus is roughly the same as it was before this current spike. Queen's Park reporter Mike Crawley with why experts warn that could soon change.
More and more people who fear they're infected with COVID-19. As Ontario's case numbers rise, hospital assessment centers are seeing growing demand for tests. But inside these hospitals, the demand for beds is not growing at the same pace, at least not yet. Here's how Ontario's average daily case count has surged in recent weeks. Since early September, the number has tripled. Over the same time frame, the number of people in hospital with a confirmed case of COVID-19 hasn't risen anywhere near as quickly.
Sadly, this is where you just say, tick-tock. It's just unfortunately a matter of time. I don't think you need a crystal ball here to say that, given that we've got a rise in cases in Ontario, there's going to be an expected rise in hospitalizations and sadly an expected rise in deaths associated with COVID-19.
Right now, the bulk of new cases in Ontario are among people younger than 40. The hospitalization and death rates for young people who contract the virus are far lower than among the elderly.
The issue with this infection is that it's really, really contagious, and we know from experience in Canada, and of course we know from experience elsewhere in the world, that it doesn't stay restricted to a single age cohort for long.
And if infections start hitting older demographics, Ontario's hospitals expect a surge in admissions.
We are seeing small blips, but definite increases in our hospitalization and in our ICU use of patients with COVID. And are we going to see a spike in older age groups in a few weeks based on who they're bubbling or sheltering with? That's my concern.
More testing come the fall.
Is the province considering any new actions to try to slow the spread? We asked the Premier.
Making sure we get the message out consistently, making sure people don't let their guard down, don't take the eye off the ball.
Today, Quebec declared that it is in the second wave of the pandemic. Ontario has yet to state that officially. Whether you call it a wave, a spike, or a surge, here's a fact. The number of average daily new cases has tripled in just 2.5 weeks. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
Federal funding for the COVID Isolation and Recovery Center for migrant workers runs out in 9 days. That's according to Windsor's mayor. Council's already voted to take over the operation, but only if the federal government covers the bill.
The problem exists, obviously, in the county. It would be irresponsible, really, for the taxpayers of Windsor to shoulder the burden and the expense of doing that alone. It requires the federal government, it requires the provincial government to step forward. We don't mind putting the staffing towards making it work and operational, but we can't be out of pocket doing that.
Comments come after a public event today thanking frontline healthcare workers at long-term care homes. Dilkins also told CBC News that the isolation center at the Holiday Inn on Huron Church is currently empty, but he expects up to 3,300 migrant workers that could be coming to the region soon. And he says that he wants this isolation center to remain operational in the event of a second wave so staff can mobilize quickly. With no signs of slowing in Ontario, the pandemic continues to ravage local businesses. Area karate schools have had a big drop in business, and some fear that they may have to bow out. The CBC's Tamina Aziz reports.
It's tough. I'd be heartbroken.
Albert Mady has been running his dojo for more than 40 years, but that soon could be over. He wants the government to extend its rent relief program.
At the end of this month, beginning next month, there hasn't been enough money to come in to pay the rent. And I am worried about that.
This dojo used to be filled with people, but now Mady only sees a few students at a time. With extra cleaning costs and business expenses, he's not sure if he can keep up.
Parents might be afraid to send the children. I've spoken to many of the parents, and they keep saying, we're going to wait to see what happens. The problem is, what may happen is the dojo might not be here anymore.
One parent and longtime client says he feels sad that he and his daughter can't continue Mady's classes because of the pandemic. He has a high-risk job and wants to stay within his bubble.
Is it worth going to those buildings and the gyms to put everyone at risk, right? That's a gut check. I'm missing my outlet. I'm missing my personal growth, my peace, my flexibility, my health, right?
Mady says other karate schools are facing similar financial hits. Some have already closed down. Others, like Peaceful Warriors Martial Arts Institute, worry they might be next.
We dedicate our lives to our students and seeing them accomplish. I've got a lot of students that are in higher grade belts, green and blue level, coming up to red and black. I don't want to desert them. But can I afford to keep my doors open? I don't know.
I'm not greedy. I just want to pay my bills, support my family, and enjoy teaching people and helping them in so many different ways.
Mady's tried offering virtual and personal classes, and while that's worked for other dojos, it isn't bringing in enough business for him. Mady says he doesn't know what he'll do if his business closes for good. Tamina Aziz, CBC News, Windsor.
Now, you heard Tamina talk about businesses that may have to shut down. The Silvas Martial Arts closed their doors earlier this month. The owner, Josh De Silva, sent CBC the following statement. Quote, opening De Silva's Academy of Martial Arts in 2017 was a lifelong dream of mine. This was not simply a 3-year venture, but many years of careful thought, consideration, business and financial planning, and more importantly, time. Given the current COVID-19 circumstances, our business plan is no longer viable. We cannot offer the same events that brought joy to the students. To say the closure of the school is devastating would be a wild understatement. Caesars Windsor has been closed since March, allowed to open in stage 3, but the doors have not been open. That's left thousands without work and the city without additional revenue. The casino brings Windsor about $12 million a year in taxes. That goes towards funding police and other operations. Mayor Drew Dilkins says that he's been in contact with other cities who have casinos. He says officials have gotten together and reached out to the province about loosening exemptions, but changes won't be made for at least 4 weeks. Just about every event and annual festival, Windsor Essex has canceled or shifted the way they do things this year because of COVID-19, but not apple picking. Along with a bumper crop for apple orchards, they're also seeing a record number of visitors. Dale Molnar takes a bite.
Oh, there's a lot of nice ones here. Look at those down there.
Monique Tomaselli and her son Montgomery Tomaselli-Svalson picked Granny Smith apples at Thiessen Apple Orchards. She's just one of about 5,000 customers the orchard is expecting this season.
During these tough times, it's one thing that you can do that you should feel confident doing. It's pretty safe here.
The owner estimates attendance will be double this year compared to last year.
We think people are wanting to get out and spend some time out in the outdoors with their families, and our farm is large enough where we can spread people out in a safe way, and we think it's a good opportunity for people to get out and enjoy the outdoors.
We haven't been on many dates lately, so we figured coming out somewhere that's actually safe.
At Wagner Orchards and Estate Winery, business is also up 25%. The owner feels people are starting to appreciate the agriculture the area has to offer.
We produce everything from fish to fruit. So if people are starting to figure that out and trying to start to find out where these things are, I think that accounts for some of our increase.
Even though things are pretty much normal here at Thiessen's Orchards, there are still things people have to do to stay safe from COVID, like wearing masks and hand sanitizing.
We've expanded our candy corner. We've doubled that size to make things a lot more spacious for people to safely go in and out of the candy corner. We have set up spaced out lineups, socially distant lineups at our country kitchen. And we've added another tractor and wagon ride to help spread people out on the wagon rides.
They also started charging admission this year, partly to facilitate contact tracing, but also to help offset the estimated $25,000 extra that COVID precautions are costing. For example, Thiessen has hired 50 extra people this year compared to 35. Something this drama student is thankful for.
I had been on unemployment for quite a while, and so it's great that they have offered me a place that I feel safe to come into work to every day.
Thiessen can't say whether the admission charge will be a permanent thing. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Leamington.
Now, with the new limits on social gatherings, the City of Windsor's canceled or redesigned many festivals events that they were supposed to put on this year. Now, even though the Bright Lights Festival is months away, the city says workers start preparing for it next month, usually. But as of now, they don't know if it will be happening this year or not. The North American International Auto Show is moving to a new date once again. The next auto show takes place from September 28th to October 9th of 2021. Originally, the auto show happened in January. Recently, organizers decided to move the date to the summer. It was supposed to start this year, but was moved to next year. Music was ringing out from Festival Plaza on Windsor's waterfront this weekend as a free drive-in concert was held as a tribute to healthcare and essential workers.
Realizing that essential workers need to be able to decompress as well, and being that our business is events, figure what a better way to help them decompress than by enjoying a local show.
Now, the production company held a trial concert at the end of August to test this kind of drive-in format. Those watching the show enjoyed it from their vehicles to allow for physical distancing. And the event also gave local artists who've experienced a virtually concertless summer the chance to get on stage again.
It reminds us a little bit of how life used to be, and it may be a little bit different, but it's good. It's good to just get out and to do something, but also in a socially distanced way and a safe way.
Organizers say they'll keep hold of Festival Plaza for another concert next weekend, but their goal is to hold more of them throughout next month. Chatham-Kent police executed a search warrant at a greenhouse facility accused of an illegal drug operation. What they found was the largest drug bust in the history of the service. During a 3-day period, police say that they seized more than $7.3 million in marijuana. The investigation is ongoing. Police say charges are pending. Monarch butterflies and songbirds are making up most of the traffic at Point Pelee National Park these days as the fall migration gets underway.
It's been really strong in the last week, especially. A lot of songbirds moving through the area. We're seeing lots of red-breasted nuthatches, all kinds of warblers moving through.
Now, you saw those shots from the recently opened tower at the tip. You got to walk from the visitor center on weekends, but on weekdays, you can drive to the tip, and it's worth that trip. Up next, Colette Kennedy with a full look at this week's forecast. Joining us now for a live look at the weather is Colette Kennedy. Colette, our final few days of summer have been fantastic, and I just hope that fall kind of keeps that roll on the go.
I know it's kind of crazy because actually as we're going into fall, if anything, we're going to find it's going to feel kind of summer-like. So yeah, some really nice conditions coming, and I'm going to get into that. I really have to point out what's going on here with Hurricane Teddy. I've been talking so much, we have to, about the Atlantic hurricane season. It's been so busy, and here we have Hurricane Teddy, and this one looks like it is going to have an impact on Canadians, on Atlantic Canada. So if you have friends and family there, I did just want to mention what's happening with it. So the wind speeds right now 150 kilometers an hour. Category 1, it's going to strengthen to a 2, and then it's going to weaken a little bit, but still it will be having an impact, especially on Nova Scotia. It looks like perhaps crossing over Cape Breton Island. It will be post-tropical then, but we're talking about 100 millimeters of rain. There's certainly going to be some erosion here, and obviously some very strong winds through this region as well. But not only that, 10 to 15 meter waves that they could be seeing through this region. So something we'll be watching carefully in the timeline in case you can't read it there, but that's going to be a late Tuesday into Wednesday morning. And you know what's interesting here is it could have kicked back, it doesn't always, but sometimes they can actually kick back towards the west, and that's not happening there because of this ridge of high pressure, the same one that's giving us this beautiful weather that we're seeing for as we go into this first week of fall. So yes, it begins tomorrow, the fall. Warming temperatures is what we'll be seeing, and we have to look way down the road until I see a chance of us getting into showers. At least how it looks right now, it's not till about Saturday night. So several days that we're stringing together here. Right now the temperature 19, Chatham-Kent 17, because we've got the winds off the lake, a little bit cooled, at times tiny bit breezy, but we're just going to find things beginning to warm up. So high pressure's in place, it's settling in, and again that's kind of blocking things through the Great Lakes and keeping the activity out towards Atlantic Canada. Patchy fog possible overnight tonight. Yes, a little bit of patchy fog, but into the morning hours, anything that's lingering, that's going to burn off pretty quickly because of the sunshine that we're going to have tomorrow morning. So the temperature's looking like this, a little milder for what we're going to be seeing tonight, even as we see things clearing out. Tomorrow afternoon, perhaps a few clouds building, but primarily it is a sunny day. Maybe to 24, 23 to 24 for our highs. But look what's going to be happening with these temperatures as we're going into the week. I'm not kidding, folks. 26, 27 degrees for our highs. And I put it on there, but for now, it's not till Saturday night, Chris, that I'm seeing the next chance for getting into some showers. First week of fall, what?
That is perfect. That is a perfect forecast. I feel like people can enjoy that. It might be the time to go apple picking is at the beginning instead of the end of fall this year.
There you go. It's gorgeous.
Thanks for this, Colette.
You're welcome.
Now, if you ask Moira Rose what her favorite season is, it's not fall, it's not winter, not even summer or spring. Award season. We'll recap what happened last night at the Emmys and the Schitt's Creek sweep next. Health experts say that getting the flu shot this year is more important than ever. They want to avoid burdening the healthcare system even more during the pandemic. Now, Ontario pediatricians are warning of an imminent crisis. The pediatric section of the Ontario Medical Association launched a petition over the weekend. They're worried they will not be able to give the normal number of flu vaccines this year because of COVID-19 safety protocols. They want financial and logistical support. A CBC production has made Emmy history. Schitt's Creek is the first program ever to sweep all 7 comedy categories. Yelena Azik has more on the momentous occasion.
Let's start by saying what needs to be said. Schitt's Creek was a shit sweep, by all accounts, including host Jimmy Kimmel.
I don't know about you, but I've had enough of this Canadian stuff. The Canadians have won all the Emmys tonight.
Eugene Levy started the ball rolling with his Best Actor in a Comedy speech.
I also want to thank once again this young man who took our fish out of water story about the Rose family and transformed it into a celebration of inclusivity, a castigation of homophobia, and a declaration of the power of love.
With a reference there to his son's character's storyline, it was a reminder that this wasn't just a win for Canadians or for CBC and Netflix. It was also a really big win for the LGBT community. As someone who identifies, Dan Levy got 3 honors, 1 for Best Writing, 1 as a co-director, and 1 for Best Supporting Actor. He decided to use his platform to get political.
Go out and vote, because that is the only way that we are going to have some love and acceptance out there.
Similarly, when Catherine O'Hara won for Best Actress in a Comedy, she used her presence to support representation of all ages.
I will forever be grateful to Eugene and Daniel Levy for the opportunity, for bestowing upon me the opportunity to play a woman of a certain age, my age, who gets to fully be her ridiculous self.
And for playing Catherine O'Hara's daughter on Schitt's Creek, Annie Murphy took the comedy prize for Best Supporting Actress.
The 6 years that I have spent working on this show have been the best 6 years of my entire life.
But perhaps the best share of all is Dan Levy's post today of his sister in her living room at the moment of finding out about her brother's win. Daniel. Oh my God. And that's the last word. Okay, scream. For the historic Emmy sweep for the comedy Schitt's Creek. Yelena Adzik, CBC News, Toronto.
Certainly worth a watch if you have not seen it already. 6:29 p.m. That's it for us here at CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, you can go to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor anytime. We're on social media too. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Power and Politics is up next. We're going to join that already in progress. Thanks for watching. Make sure that you and your family have yourselves a wonderful night tonight.